Happy Friday, all. It's good to be back with you today again, Deuce. How you doing?
I'm good. Friday. Can't complain.
Another weekend upon us, another money-making opportunity.
Yes, sir.
Well, we're here to do the NBA preview. I know that the year's about a week and a half underway. We did make our picks, posted it on the blog, but I figured we'd give ourselves a week to see what these teams are all about before we started talking about them. Your initial thoughts on what has transpired so far in the NBA?
I was not ready for the NBA. I'm trying to hang on to the golf season, and football is still in full swing, but I have watched 4 or 5 games now. My first thought is my hometown team is atrocious. The Wizards are terrible. They've taken a huge step back again. I think we're actually borderline blown up and restart, but we'll see. See what the next couple months bring. And then obviously the Warriors are the big story. They're winning, and Durant is putting up points, but to me, Klay Thompson does not look happy. He looks lost. He looks forgotten. And defensively and rebounding, I think, are going to be a problem come playoff time when the game slows down. Obviously, they have shooters everywhere, but I don't know. Something looks different and not in a good way to me.
Well, let's start our preview out west then. Let's start with Golden State. They're the big story. They had Durant, obviously, and Zaza Pachulia, lose Harry Barnes and Bogut. I have the same questions you do after watching them last night. I watched them a little bit against the Spurs on opening night. Klay Thompson is going to be the odd man out. He's almost just serving as a floor spacer right now.
Yeah, it's weird because if we were doing a draft of NBA players mixed up, Klay Thompson would be a top 10 guy to me. Really good defender, maybe the best shooter in the league. You could argue that. And I get it, Durant is a transcendent player, but that chemistry loss with Klay, I think, is going to be big. He just doesn't look happy at all.
Their major advantage was Draymond Green creating matchup problems in that bench. The bench has now been negated to a few guys, and Draymond Green does not fit on the floor with these guys.
I agree. But the bench, I think, is a huge deal. That is a great point. They had 5 to 7 guys that came in and almost lost nothing from the starters. They played a similar style, too, which I think is important. Now you're bringing guys off the bench like David West, who, great career. I actually like the toughness that he brings to the team, but he plays a total opposite style to what that bench is used to playing.
Draymond Green, I don't think, would take the role, but you almost have to make him the captain of the second team to get him back in the role that he belongs in. Because
I totally agree. I think it's a great idea. Obviously, he probably would not be happy not being a starter, but I think if he still gets the same minutes, the 30 minutes a night, and he is basically the leader of that second unit, I think that's a great role for him.
The other major question I have, it's only been 5 games now, but Andre Iguodala may have lost a step. And if he has lost a step, who guards the tough matchups in the playoffs?
Draymond, I guess. I'm not sure. That's a great question. I really like Klay as a defender, so it would be Klay Thompson for me. But if we're talking about one specific guy named LeBron James, then I guess it's Draymond. I'm not sure.
Yeah, the talent they have, I have major questions. In crunch time, if they're going to put their best 5 on the floor, Durant has to play 4 and Draymond has to play 5. I don't know if there's a team in the West that could exploit that, but you can bang them around.
I agree. I think the bench is a huge deal. I still like Livingston a lot, but I thought that Barbosa-Livingston unit last year was really good. You can definitely beat them down low. I don't know if there's a team in the NBA besides the Cavs that can really do it. I think the Spurs might be able to do it. We'll see. But yeah, I agree. It's the slow down, bang them out games that they're going to lose, and that's what playoff basketball is about. I think the Clippers have sort of the team that can do that. We'll see. I've been on the Clippers a lot, and they burned me, so I'm a little hesitant. But that's the team, to me, in the West that has the bodies to do it.
Are we going to see any reports throughout this year of Klay Thompson becoming unhappy?
Well, I think we'll see it before the All-Star break.
Do you think this is going to take a while to mesh, similar to how the Miami Heat were when LeBron, Ray Allen, and Dwayne Wade were there?
I think that they're built for the regular season, so I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know what the disappointment mark is. Is it if they don't win 70 games, is it disappointing? If that's the case, then yeah, I guess it will take some time to mesh. But I think they're built for the regular season, so I think they'll still win 63, 64, 65 games, something like that.
Vegas set the over-under at 66.5.
Yeah, I liked the under just because everyone else is going to take the over.
I would also lean under there. The other odds I wanted to ask you was Warriors minus 120, the field plus 150.
To win the whole thing?
To win the title.
I think I would take the field.
I would agree. We both chose the Warriors as our West pick. Any reservations a week in?
Yeah, I think so, actually. I sort of wish San Antonio had Duncan of 2 years ago. I would definitely pick the Spurs at this point. I would change my pick to the Spurs if they had Duncan of 2 years ago.
We both said if not the Warriors, the Clippers. They had Brandon Bass and Maurice Spates. Don't really lose anyone of note. Over-under set at 53.5. Your thoughts on the Clippers this year?
I would lean over, especially if Chris Paul can stay healthy. I should say the whole team can stay healthy. But the guys you just mentioned, Spates was great for Golden State last year. I think he was very underrated. Brandon Bass is a huge body. That's what I was getting at a few minutes ago. They have the bodies to beat Golden State up. They can out-rebound them 2-1, I think, almost every time they play. So, I like the Clippers in theory this year. Again, just like last year.
I wish they had one more shooter. Obviously, J.J. Redick can knock it down. Paul Pierce, does he have anything left in the tank?
I don't think so, but I guess you can never write him off. I don't think so.
If they could get anything out of Wesley Johnson, I think they have a chance to compete with the Warriors.
I agree. I wish they had a shooter too. I don't think Jamal Crawford, Raymond Felton, or Austin Rivers really does anything for me. I would like to see them make a move at the deadline. I don't know who would be out there, but this is maybe too similar to J.J. Redick, but a Korver or Chandler Parsons, someone like that, I think would be a really good addition for them.
If it doesn't work this year, are they in blow-up mode?
100%, I think so. I think you see everyone leave, basically. Coach, Chris Paul, Blake, I think everyone's gone.
What are your thoughts now after a couple years in LA of Doc Rivers? I know he was highly thought of leaving Boston, going to LA. He has underwhelmed me in the Clippers.
Yeah, I'm with you. People don't appreciate that Boston team. I mean, it was basically before the the Heat did it. It was basically the same thing: KG, Ray Allen, Paul Pierce, and Rondo. So they never got blasted for it because they didn't, I guess, publicly say they were going to win 6 rings. But he's a good coach. I don't think he's the best in the league. That's for sure.
Staying in that division, the Sacramento Kings off to a 2-4 start. Over/under set at 34. The big question here is Boogie Cousins going to be a Sacramento King the rest of the year?
I can't answer that anymore. I have no idea.
To me,
honestly, I don't know.
To me, it makes sense to get rid of him, but it's made sense to me the last 2 years.
Well, yeah, that's why I'm saying I have no idea. It seems like he's a constant trade rumor, but then it is denied that he'll get dealt. So, If you're the Kings at this point, you're not winning with him. Why keep him?
This is a pretty bad roster.
It's a terrible roster. I mean, there's a couple guys I think I would want on a team. Like, I would take Cauley Stein, as a bench guy. Obviously, you take Boogie Cousins. But other than that, Rudy Gay, Matt Barnes, Aflalo, Garrett Temple. Their point guards are pretty bad. Garrett Temple, Ty Lawson, Darren Collison. This is not a good team at all.
Anytime we talk about, or anytime anybody talks about, hey, my team needs a 3, can we get it out of our mind that Rudy Gay is the answer?
No, he's going to be in the league for the next 15 years.
This was one of my plays this year, Sacramento Kings under 34. I do think they eventually trade Boogie this year.
I like that play as well. I think you're spot on with that. Rudy Gay, shockingly, is only 30 years old, so I think he'll be a King for a while.
Yeah. Staying in California, LA Lakers, the baby Lakers, add Brandon Ingram in the draft. $64 million to Timofey Mozgov.
Good for him.
And obviously lose Kobe Bryant to retirement. Off to a 2-3 start. Vegas over/under at 24.5.
I think you can see at the end of the year them beating that 24.5 number, just because I think they have a couple of guards that will win games by themselves. Nick Young, Lou Williams on the same team is just unbelievably awesome. So I think I think this year is all about Brandon Ingram and D'Angelo Russell. Can they play together and can they develop? Julius Randle, another piece that is intriguing. So I think this is a year to see if those 3 can mesh, and if not, you'll probably see one of them get dealt.
They may not win a lot of games this year, probably won't, but I think they're actually pretty close. I like Luke Walton as the coach. I like some of their pieces. I'm not completely sold on Brandon Ingram, but I do think they're pretty close, as goofy as that sounds.
I don't think it's goofy. I think if in the NBA, you're looking at pieces and assets, in my opinion. So when you're looking at that, they have 3 or 4 young pieces that you really like, and not a ton of teams can say that.
They probably will lose their lottery pick to Philly this year. I think it's a top 3 protected, unless it works out in the lottery. I think they're going to be better than 3 worst team. And but it's not going to be hard to lure a free agent to LA.
No, definitely not. They're one of those teams that can be good really quick again.
I would lean over the 24.5.
I think I would too. I think they have enough scores where they're going to win some garbage games.
I think you hit it correctly that as the year goes on, especially late in the year, they'll start playing better.
Yep.
And the last team in the division, the Phoenix Suns, get Dragan Bender in the draft along with Marquise Chris. I think this is a very bad team.
Yeah, it's an interesting draft. Both of those guys have really high ceilings, but they also have really low floors, meaning that they could be total busts. I don't think there's much safety factor there. As far as their total roster, I've always been an Eric Bledsoe fan. He just can't stay healthy. The guy I really like on this roster is Devin Booker. I think he could be really, really good. He'll probably have the ball. He'll probably be able to shoot a lot with the rest of these guys, but I think he is a guy to watch. I don't know if they would move him at the deadline for a nice haul, but I think he can play.
I think the emergence of Booker, they've signed Leandro Barbosa, and they have Tyler Ulis, along with Brandon Knight, makes Eric Bledsoe expendable, and I do think they could get a piece for him.
I mean, he's only 26. If he could somehow stay healthy, I would think somebody would want him.
Yeah, I definitely think he's a name to watch being moved. Their over-under was set at 30. I think that's an easy under.
I would agree. This smells like a 26-27 win team at best, if they stay healthy.
Golden State Easy pick to win that division.
Yes.
Moving along, San Antonio Spurs over under 58.5. Add Pau Gasol and David Lee. Duncan leaves to retirement. Boris Diaw gone. Have started 4-1. You really don't judge them till the playoffs, but your thoughts on them?
I always liked them. I think they have the best coach in basketball. I was not a fan of the Aldridge signing last year. I just don't think he really fits on the team. I still don't love. He's kind of a ball stopper. I don't love him on the squad. But I do like the addition of Pau Gasol. I think he brings that Spurs element. He just seems like a Spur to me, kind of crafty. Obviously will fit with Ginobili. But this team is Kawhi Leonard's now. I think he is the strong contender for MVP this year.
One name we really liked in the draft that they got, Dejounte Murray from Washington.
Yes.
6'5" guard. I think as the season goes on, he gets more and more minutes, is able to spell Tony Parker, and could be a key name come playoff time.
I really liked that draft pick as well. The game I watched the other night, another name, an undrafted player, Jonathan Simmons, looked really strong. So they might have found some guys to take Duncan's place here.
Kawhi Leonard, any shot at an MVP this year?
Yeah, I think he's a top 5 candidate.
And
I actually think he's got a better chance of winning it than Steph or Durant.
I would agree there. Your thoughts on LaMarcus Aldridge this year?
He's a good player, don't get me wrong. I just hate that he has to pound the ball into the floor to get his own shot. He's a stopper. Don't love him on defense, but, he'll put up your 20 and 10. I don't know. There's something where I think he's in that next tier of guys, not that top tier, if that makes any sense. So, I would rather them have Klay Thompson than LaMarcus Aldridge.
Moving to Memphis, they bring in Chandler Parsons. Only keynote loss would be Lance Stevenson. They've started 3-2, over under at 42.5. This roster seems stale to me.
Totally agree. Obviously, I like Chandler Parsons, but other than that, I'm not sure there's a piece that I want at all.
They've re-signed Gasol, re-signed Conley. This almost seems like this is going to be the roster moving forward as well.
I mean, I like Mike Conley. I think he's been underrated the last 10 years, or however long he's been in the league, 9 years. But this roster is very old. I mean, Tony Allen's 35, Vince Carter's 55. Marc Gasol is over 30 now, I believe, 31, 32. Zach Randolph's 35. So their starters might not make it 20 games into the season. Stale is the perfect word, like you said.
I think the roster is more built for the playoffs, but I don't think they would win enough games in the regular season to get a favorable matchup and get out of the first round.
Right. Totally agree.
I actually lean the under on 42.5.
I'm kind of stuck. I think they're right on that. They're savvy enough to win games. I just have a question if they're going to be able to stay healthy at all.
They were my pick for disappointing team this year.
Yeah, I think with expectations there, I think that's a good pick.
To Houston, they lose Dwight Howard. Bring in Ryan Anderson and Eric Gordon. Have started 3-2, over/under set at 44. How does Mike D'Antoni and James Harden fit together?
I don't know how Mike D'Antoni continues to get jobs, to be honest. I don't know. It's a weird fit. They're obviously going to shoot it more than anybody. They'll probably take more threes than anybody outside of Golden State. They might even take more than them. I don't love them down low. Dwight, obviously, I'm not a huge fan of, but I think they do lose something with him. Nene, they picked up, who was awful, like just below awful. I do like Ryan Anderson. He's a good stretch player. He'd be the exact type of guy that the Clippers should have gone after. But Eric Gordon is never healthy. He's a terribly inefficient player. But I do think James Harden will contend for MVP. He will probably win the scoring title.
Are we going to get anything from our guy, Sam Decker, this year?
I hope so. I was going to say the one piece that I love is Sam Decker, but I don't know how much run he's going to get.
To me, this seems like a regular season team.
Yes.
Depending on the matchup in the playoffs, maybe they get it out in the first, but no further than that.
Yeah, it's all on Harden's back, basically.
I think the over-under set at 44 is a good number. I don't have a lead either way. Staying in Texas, Dallas Mavericks have started 0-4. They've brought in Harry Barnes and Andrew Bogut, lose Chandler Parsons. I don't love this roster.
I love the coach. I'm actually a fan of Cubans now. But this roster is going to have trouble scoring. Their guards are pretty small. Darren Williams has some size, but Wesley Matthews, Seth Curry, J.J. Barea, that's something to do anything for. Dirk is 42 now, 41, whatever he is. Yeah, their two best players are past their primes, which is never good. Harry Barnes was there rolling the dice, and you know how we both feel about Harry Barnes.
Yeah, I don't think much more needs to be said. When you're relying on Harry Barnes to be to elevate you, you're in trouble. Over under at 38.5.
Obviously, I'm on the under.
Yeah. New Orleans Pelicans round out the division. They draft Buddy Hield, bring in Lance Stevenson, lose Ryan Anderson and Eric Gordon. Over under set at 37, off to an 0-5 start.
This is an interesting team to me. I really like the draft pick of Buddy Hield. I thought he would be a good NBA, six-man type of scorer off the bench. But to me, what do you do with Anthony Davis? There's no way he's staying there, I don't think. So do you move him and get as much as you can for him now, or what?
How do you even assess what Anthony Davis could bring you back?
I know. You have to think there's a better than 50-50 chance he's gone, though, when his contract is up.
I completely agree.
Terrible.
Completely agree. I mean, the cap situation they're in, I don't even know how you go to build a roster. I mean, they're hamstrung.
Yeah, they're paying a lot of guys a lot of money. Even Langston Galloway is making $5 million from them. Drew Holiday's making 11. Each one more is making 8. They're just paying everybody. Omar Asik is making 10. Alex Ancha is making 5. I mean, they're paying everybody under the sun. I think they got to move him. We'll see. I don't know how you move a piece that good, but I think you have to.
I'm sitting here trying to think what I would even ask for back for Anthony Davis.
I know. That's the problem. I don't know what package you can get for, maybe the piece that would be most coveted in the league for the next 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to be top 3 of players you would draft to build around for the next 10, if not number 1.
Yeah, I think if you're the Sixers, you offer the whole roster. Let Ben Simmons go back down there.
Spurs, easy favorite to win this one. Division.
Yes, I think so. I think Houston will be okay, but I think the Spurs are the pick.
And rounding out the last of the Western Conference divisions, should be an interesting one. We'll start with the Blazers. Have started 2-3. Added Evan Turner and Festus Ezeli. No major losses. Over under 45.5.
We've been Blazers backers the last couple of years. We both love the McCollum and Lillard combo. I like Allen Crabbe too. Myers Leonard, they paid. He's an okay big, I guess, if you want to call him that. But I think this is a tough spot to win. It's hard to get a free agent up to Portland. I love the city, but it's a tough spot to award somebody. I'm not sure what they're going to be able to do. I think their ceiling is pretty low. I think it's, 7th or 8th seed, and that's probably as far as they can get.
Does this improve them at all? This is rumor going around Philly. Nerlens Noel to Portland for Allen Crabbe.
Yeah. I like Allen Crabbe. He can shoot it. It's tough to play him, McCollum, and Lillard at the same time. I think I would make that deal if I was both sides, actually.
Yeah, I love this backcourt with Lillard and McCollum. They're just one piece away. I don't know how they get it or who it might be.
It's Anthony Davis.
I don't think they have the assets to send back to New Orleans.
No, they don't. Yeah, but it's somebody like that.
Would you?
But yeah, I agree. They're close, but I'm not sure how they get there.
Would you send Lillard, draft picks, and some other pieces, I guess, for Anthony Davis?
I would. I think you can win with McCollum, Crabbe, and Davis. I don't know how far you can go, but I think that's better than what you can get right now.
Is that a fair deal for New Orleans? Is Lillard about the best they could do?
Probably, yeah. I'm not sure what other star, quote unquote, you could get.
Over-under set at 45.5. To me, that seems right on it.
Yeah, I agree. They're in the mid-40s. I think it's a good number. I want to say over, but I don't know if I can.
Interesting team to me this year. Utah Jazz, over-under at 49, have started 3-2. Added George Hill, Boris Diaw, Joe Johnson, lose Trey Burke. I like this roster.
I do too, actually. I know people are going to laugh at the Joe Johnson signing, but I think it's actually pretty good. They have some pieces here. Rodney Hood looks really good. I like the Trey Lyles pick. Rudy Gobert is a monster down low. Derek Favors is really good. If Dante Exum could play, I think this would be a legit team here. I have questions about their point guard. I don't love George Hill. Shelvin back, Dante Exum backing him up. But other than that, I like every piece at every position that they have.
I think if this team plays out of its mind, this is the type of roster that could give Golden State trouble. Because they can bang it down low, and they have decent enough shooters to score.
That's a good point, yeah.
In a 7-game...
If Derek Favors and Rudy Gobert play really well this year, Golden State will have no answer for them.
In a 7-game series, I'm not sure they could win, but I think they would make Golden State sweat it out.
There's a big mismatch, too, with Rodney Hood being a 6'9" shooting guard.
Yeah, they have some pieces off the bench that would give Golden State some trouble.
Yeah. Yep, I agree.
To Oklahoma City, obviously lose Durant, trade Ibaka, bring in Oladipo and Sabonis in the draft. Obviously, the story there is Russell Westbrook now without Kevin Durant. Over under 43.5. Lose their first game last night. Currently sit at 4-1. How do you see the Thunder moving forward?
Oh, man. I don't really know. They remind me now of the Blazers, where you have Westbrook and Oladipo in the backcourt, and then you just have a mashing of pieces up front. Adams and Cantor are really good, but I'm not sure they can be that kind of dominant force that Westbrook needs down low to be a serious contender. I think both of those guys are the 16 and 8 type of guys, not the 22 and 12 that they need.
To me, they never could get that shooter when Durant was there, and they still don't have the shooter now.
Yeah, they are going to count on Oladipo to be that, and he is not.
Yeah, I like the backcourt. I like Adams and Sabonis in the front court, but they still missed that three.
Yep.
And without that, I'm not sure they could get out of the first round depending on their matchup, unless Westbrook plays out of his mind, which he's very well capable of.
Yeah, it's all on him. He's the James Harden of this team, which is interesting that Harden should still be on this team. But yeah, I agree. I think they're a one round and out playoff team.
Both of our picks for the most improved and one of our over picks, the Minnesota Timberwolves at 40.5. They get Chris Dunn in the draft, add Cole Aldrich, lose Garnett to retirement, and bring in Thibodeau as their coach. We both think they're going to take that step forward, have started 1-3. Do you see them turning it around?
I mean, I hope so. I really hope Tibbs. I'm a little worried. Maybe I should, take a step back. But, they have pieces at every position. Rubio goes down early, so this is Dunn's opportunity, I think, to shine. Karl-Anthony Towns is a beast. Your boy Cole Aldrich is a little scrappy. Wiggins is really good. The question I have is at the 4 spot. They don't really have a 4. They have to mishmash lineups a little bit, but they have plenty of guys that can score.
I think they have to make a trade.
Veteran?
For some sort of 4.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I agree.
Looking at their roster right now, who says no to a Ja Okafor for Tyus Jones and Shabazz Muhammad?
That's a good deal. I like that deal for both teams, actually.
When we get to Philly, I think the Sixers have to get rid of Ja Okafor.
He's the guy you want out?
I think they have to get rid of him. Thibodeau's style, that's my only question with this team. A defensive-minded coach. I don't know if this is a defensive-minded team.
Yeah, I think Wiggins and Dunn are really good defenders, but other than that, I agree.
Could Towns be a sneaky MVP candidate?
Probably not. I don't think he'll put up as big of numbers. I think he needs to get to that 25 and 12 range to be a true MVP candidate with what's going on in the rest of the league. Right now he's averaging 19 and 8. I think his teammates right now are kind of outpacing him, Wiggins and Levine.
I did not know this, but just a note. Tayshaun Prince is on this roster.
Is he really?
He is.
I did not know that either. I thought Cole Aldrich was the token veteran.
Rounding out the division and the West, the Denver Nuggets add Jamal Murray in the draft. This roster seems like a mishmash of pieces to me.
I don't know what is going on with Denver. They were, I guess once they pulled the trigger on Carmelo Anthony, they just gave up trying to be good. I actually like Jamal Murray a lot. He was one of my favorite guys in the draft. But they kind of remind me of Memphis, where they're holding on to some guys that they should probably move away from. Gallinari, Chandler, Barton. I didn't know Jameer Nelson was still in the league. I don't love any piece on this team except outside of Murray. I know you're a Moutier fan, but I think he's pretty inefficient. So I lean under on this team.
Yeah, this was set at 37.5, off to a 2-3. Or excuse me, this was set at. I'm looking at the wrong team. This was set at 37. Their 2-2 start. I just think they need to make a decision who they're going to go forward with and try and get rid of the other pieces and start building now.
Yeah, it almost seems like they're trying to win playing team basketball with a bunch of non-team players, which is not going to work.
Yeah,
you have to go the star route, or you got to get good team guys.
Seems like they just showed up at a playground and picked a bunch of guys in hopes it works out.
Right, exactly.
We've both chosen Golden State to come out. If not Golden State, we've chosen the Clippers. You comfortable with those after 1 week?
I think so, yeah. I would have liked the Spurs more. There's something about the Aldridge mix that I don't like. We'll see, though. But yeah, I'm still with Golden State. It's too early to jump off yet.
We'll start with Cleveland in the East. 5-0, over-under 56.5. Bring in Mike Dunleavy, lose Dellavedova. Obviously, the big question is going to be LeBron's minutes. I'm still not in love with their bench, but in the East, they could probably get away with it. And they have some time under Ty Lue's system now. From what I've seen, they're running the offense through Kevin Love, which I like to start this year. I like the over at 56.5. How do you see this playing out?
It's just a wait and see until the playoffs. I have some questions. I know he's one of the best ever, but I don't know. There's got to be a point where all these minutes for all these years take a toll on LeBron, and he just can't flip that playoff switch like he has done the last 10 years. So that would be my main concern. I think it's going to come to the point where Kyrie might have to be that guy, and I'm not sure he is.
Yeah, I agree. Another team you're not going to be able to judge till the playoffs. Do you see them trying to limit LeBron's minutes this year?
I hope so. I mean, the guy's basketball body is like a 40-year-old at this point.
Yeah.
He's in unbelievable shape, but it happens to everybody. You just fall off a cliff at some point.
You think their bench is good enough?
I don't know. It's okay. I don't love it, but for the playoffs, kind of like some of their guys, like Tristan Thompson. I like when it comes to playoff time. I think Channing Frye could be a nice piece come playoff time. But again, Kyrie and Kevin Love, they have to play well or it's not going to work.
Moving along in the division, Detroit Pistons. Our boy Stan Van Gundy. Over under 44.5, off to a 3-2 start. Bring in Ish Smith, which has helped with Reggie Jackson, your boy, out 6 to 8 weeks. Your thoughts on the Pistons this year?
I was kind of middling on them, lukewarm, I guess you could say. Walt Drummond, Walt Tobias Harris. I like their pick of Henry Ellison in the draft. Caldwell Pope can score. Reggie Jackson injury hurts the over-under look, I think. I like their roster a lot. It's just a matter of can they come together.
Andre Drummond, you think he takes another step forward?
I had a feeling you were going to ask this. What is another step?
Top 7 player in the league.
No, I don't. I'm not sure he has developed enough offensive game to be that.
Yeah, I have questions about that too.
He's probably the best rebounder and shot blocker in the league, but I'm not sure his offensive game is to the point where he can be considered that good. He does not have many post moves. He doesn't have a jumper outside of 8 feet. So until he gets that, I don't think I can say that.
You think they have enough scoring?
Probably not. That would be a concern. Tobias Harris is probably their go-to scorer. He's pretty versatile, but if you're going to rely on Marcus Morris and Caldwell Pope as your second, third scoring, I'm not that comfortable with it. We'll see if some of the young guys can contribute. I would like to see Stanley Johnson and Ellenson get some more run. Maybe they will as the season goes on.
The over-under seems to be pretty fair to me at 44.5. I don't have a lean either way.
No, I don't either, especially now with the Jackson injury.
Indiana Pacers bring in Jeff Teague, Al Jefferson, and Thaddeus Young. Lose George Hill to the Jazz. Over-under at 44.5. I've started 2 and 3. This is a roster I really liked. I think it may take a little while to gel and figure out the rotations, but I can see this being a sneaky good team this year.
Totally agree. Love what they brought in. Love Thad Young. I think he's a very underrated player. Miles Turner is going to take a huge step. I think he's really good. He's going to surprise some people. Paul George, back to the Paul George of old. And I think Jeff Teague was very undervalued in Atlanta. I think that is an upgrade over George Hill. I agree with you. I like the over. I think his team causes some problems in the playoffs.
Can this team compete with Cleveland in the playoffs if they get it going?
Oh, man. I don't know if they have... I don't know if they have a guy that... I guess maybe Paul George could slow LeBron down. I think they could. Let's just go with a yes. I think looking at their roster, they have enough guys that can score. If Paul George has a bad night offensively, somebody can still pick it up. Miles Turner, Tristan Thompson will be a great matchup if that's what it comes to.
My bigger question, I think, would be who can guard Kyrie Irving? Because I do think...
You don't think Jeff Teague can?
I wouldn't be confident in that.
Yeah, that's a good point. They really don't have anyone to guard him. I don't love Monte Ellis as a shooting guard, but he's one of those guys that can win you a game when he gets hot. So, yeah, Kyrie Irving would have a feast, but I think Indiana has a ton of guys too. So
maybe I'm a little higher on Frank Vogel than others, but I wish he was still the coach here with these pieces rather than Nate McMillan.
Vogel. Oh boy, I don't have a dog in that fight.
I have them as an overplay at 44.5, and
I like that.
If not the Cavaliers, they would be my pick to come out of the East.
I have another pick, but I am with you. I'm strong on Indiana this year.
Very interesting situation in Chicago, bringing in Dwayne Wade, Rajon Rondo, Robin Lopez, lose Derrick Rose, Jakeem Noah, Tony Snell. Over-under set at 38.5. Have started 3-1. Our boy, the mayor, Fred Hoiberg, seems like he's been put in a difficult situation with this roster.
I am surprised they've gotten off to a good start, actually. This is a weird mix of guys. Rondo and Carter Williams are maybe the opposite point guards that I would want. Robin Lopez, he's an okay piece, I guess, to put along Taj Gibson. They're pretty stacked at the three spot with Butler, McDermott, and Valentine. I like all three of those guys. And then Dwayne Wade looks like he still has a little left. We'll see over the full season. That would be the big question. But who takes the last shot now? Is it Wade or is it Butler?
Does Butler fit in anymore? I know he's one of the top players in the league right now, but does he fit this roster?
I don't really think anyone fits on this roster. It's kind of a weird mix. I know he was rumored as the kind of Boogie Cousins guy all last year. I think if they stall, he is one to watch get moved at the deadline.
I could be wrong on this, but this seems to me like it's going to be very good or very bad.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Not a ton of middle ground. I know the over-under I thought was set a little low when I first saw it, but now that we're talking it out, if they won 35 games, it wouldn't surprise me. If they won 50 games, it wouldn't surprise me.
I agree completely. Rounding out the division, the Milwaukee Bucks, Thon Makers, their draft pick, bring in Dellavedova, lose MCW. Chris Middleton out with the injury. Over under 34.5, off to a 3-2 start.
Yeah, Middleton injury was big. He can score. He's the one guy in that roster that can really score. I know they were the kind of the team du jour last year. Everyone really liked their young guys. The Greek Freak, Middleton. I don't know if I'm there yet. Jabari to me is just okay. I don't think he's ever going to be the guy that people thought he was going to be. Greg Monroe is kind of the same. He's soft, but he'll put up a couple good games throughout the year. I do not love this team.
I don't like this roster construction. without Middleton, I don't think this team could stop anybody defensively.
No, the only guy I like is John Henson blocking shots, but, he's thin as a rail. I think they're going to have trouble scoring, too.
Yeah, to me, this is an under 34.5 play.
I agree.
To the Atlantic, Boston Celtics bring in Horford, draft Jaylen Brown, bring in Gerald Green, lose Solinger and Evan Turner. Over under 52.5, 3-2 start for the Celts.
52.5 seemed really high to me. I know Horford's a good piece. I actually like Jaylen Brown. I know he's raw, but I think he could develop into something really good. But 52.5 without a guy to me is a big number. I know it's the East, but
when I look at the assets they've had, I'm pretty underwhelmed with the roster they have.
yes, they do have Brad Stevens though.
Oh, he's the equalizer.
Yeah.
I like some of the pieces defensively. I still think the question's going to be late in games, who's going to score for you when you need a bucket.
I would assume it's going to be Horford or Isaiah Thomas. I've loved Isaiah for years, but, he is the spark plug. He should be the spark plug off the bench, not your go-to scorer in Game 6 of the Eastern Conference Finals. So, I am totally with you.
I agree that the 52.5 seems a little high to me.
Yep, I would lean under here, actually. Even if they win 49, 50 games, I think it's still a good season, but 52.5 seems high.
Toronto Raptors, 50.5 is their over-under. They bring in Solinger. Don't quite understand the draft pick of Poltel. They lose Skull and Biyombo. Start 3-1. To me, I think they take a step back this year.
I actually like them. I think DeMar DeRozan is going to turn into one of the better players, especially in the East. I love Jonas. I love Kyle Lowry if he can stay healthy. I think DeMar Carroll's a good piece. They're overpaying him, but I still think he's a good piece. I don't know. For some reason, I like this team.
I like some of the pieces in the East. I like them. I don't know if they could get back to the conference finals with this roster.
It's either, for me, it came down to them or Indiana. And I think I trust DeRozan more than I trust Paul George, especially to stay healthy. So that's kind of what it came down to for me.
50.5 over under.
Man, I don't like either side, actually.
Yeah,
I think they're right on 50.
I would agree.
The East, you can win some games, but if Jonas goes down, they don't really have a big to step in. That would worry me. And if DeRozan goes down, they're in a heap of trouble.
Similar to the Bulls, interesting situation for the Knicks. They bring in Derrick Rose, Joakim Noah, Brandon Jennings, Courtney Lee, Luz Aflalo. 38.5 over under. Have started 1-3. Your thoughts on the Knicks?
I like the Knicks under a lot, actually, not just because of the start, but they're trying. I don't know if they're trying to sell tickets or they're just. I don't know what they're doing, trying to appease their fans. I hate this roster. A lot of retreads, a lot of guys that have to have the ball in their hands to score. Melo, Derrick Rose, Brandon Jennings seems like the worst trio combo I've ever seen. Courtney Lee, your starting two guard, I can't stand. The only guy I like on this team is Porzingis. But with those three guys, I'm not sure Porzingis is going to be able to develop.
Two things. I am on the other side. I like Courtney Lee as a piece. Not on this roster, but on another.
Oh, yeah. I'm talking on this roster, I can't stand him. He's going to just be eaten alive by the personalities.
There's no way Porzingis could develop with this roster.
No. I don't understand how two schmoes doing a podcast can realize that, and the NBA executives can't.
I don't even know what to say. I'm at a loss for words, to be honest, with this roster. I have no idea what Phil Jackson was thinking.
If I was to have a team, would not mind having Noah on the team. I think he's a good piece, but can't score. It'll be interesting to see if this team is the same come February.
I guess there's some pieces that are valuable, but what could the Knicks get back for any of these guys? Maybe Lee. You could get something back.
Lance Thomas isn't valuable?
Derrick Rose is not bringing you anything back. They're not going to trade Melo. I have a hard time believing anybody would take that Noah contract on. Jennings maybe brings you something back.
Maybe. Porzingis is the only one with value.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I'm not sure what they're going to do. They're stuck. This is the definition of stuck.
They've taken major steps backwards. And have pigeonholed themselves.
It's like Billy King is pulling the strings around there.
Speaking of Billy King, to the Sixers. 0-4 start. Bring in Sergio Rodriguez, Jared Bayless, Gerald Henderson. Sarge comes over, Embiid playing. Simmons hurt. He was the draft pick. Lose-ish Smith. Over-under at 24.5. Thoughts on the Sixers?
We'll see what Sarge is. Embiid looks pretty good. I think the whole season comes down to which guy gets dealt. Ben Simmons getting hurt obviously is tough because even if they're going to be bad, you want to see what he is. I don't like the regime change, but I guess it has to be done. I was a fan of what they were trying to do. I think it's the right way to build a team in the NBA. But yeah, I think your Philly fans are going to be in for a rough season.
I'm extremely impressed with Joel Embiid. His footwork is unbelievable for 7'2".
Yes. The concern, I've only watched him once, but for a big man to average 4 turnovers a game is a little bit scary.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I know he's basically a rookie, but he thinks he's a point guard sometimes.
I think ideally with Simmons healthy, Embiid and Simmons in crunch time, and Saric on the floor, you need to get 2 shooters with them, which leaves Okafor, an odd man, out, and Nerlens Noel out. I know it's risky to trade them with Embiid's health, but I think you have to trade them both.
Wow, both of them.
I do. And I don't think the money that Noel will command, I don't think you could relegate him to a bench player. I think he's an ideal candidate to be your 6th kind of jack-of-all-trades type of guy, but I don't know if he would accept that role.
That's a good point. He, to me, is not an NBA starter. I think he's a really good bench player. He's a 22-minute-a-night guy, especially if you need someone that can rebound and play defense. But, yeah, like you said, he's still young, so he's got value and he's going to want money. He'd be a prime candidate to me for the Warriors. If you could pull off a Noel package for Klay Thompson, that would be ideal. Obviously, you'd need to throw in a bunch more, but I think that would be the trade that I would want.
Yeah, I would do that Noel for Crab deal. I think Okafor, you may trade him. I think he's the type of guy that needs to be surrounded by good players. I think if he is, he may break out and be a really good post player. On a bad team, though, I don't think he fits.
He's an interesting piece because I think he has tons of skill, especially for the NBA style of game. But the rebounding, especially on the offensive end and defensively, I worry. And like you, on a bad team, I think he gets lost. But I don't really know where he would fit on a good team either.
He's such a liability against the pick and roll that it would be hard to play him in crunch time.
Right, so I'm not sure how he fits on a good team, especially, if he's averaging 20 and 10, he's going to make money, so he's a weird one.
Yeah, he is very interesting. Very interesting guy moving forward. But I do think by the deadline, they will have made a trade.
For one of them.
I think Noel may have played his last game as a Sixer.
Wow. Interesting.
He's made some comments as well that I don't think have sat well with Sixers brass.
Yeah.
And then rounding out the division, the Billy Kings, the Brooklyn Nets. They had Jeremy Lin, Randy Foye, Luis Scola, Joe Johnson, and Jarrett Jack. 20.5 the over-under. 2-3 start. This team is... like, I don't know how you can be a Brooklyn Nets fan.
I have no idea. I actually love this team. I love that this is an actual NBA team. I saw an argument on Twitter the other day about, I think it was Goodman for ESPN said he would much rather be in the Sixers position than the Nets. And some Nets fans were offended by that. And I was shocked that people actually were defending the team. This team is awful. By far the worst roster in the league, I think.
I mean, if you're the Nets, you've given up all those first-round draft picks, so there's no reason to tank. Wouldn't you... I would, if I'm the Nets, I'd take what the Knicks did and just bring in these guys like Derrick Rose, Joakim Noah, and hopefully it works out.
I don't know what you do. I think they're stuck. They have nowhere to go. Their roster is the worst in the league, and their payroll is high, which is the worst combo you can have.
And they have no assets coming in because Boston's good drafting for them.
Right. I don't know what I would do. I don't know. I might go to the commissioner and ask if we cannot play this season.
I mean, the pieces that are getting paid too, the big money, I don't know how you unload them somewhere else and just strip down to nothing and hopefully lure a free agent. I don't even think you could do that.
I think Brook Lopez has some value still. He's the guy that you're paying the most money to. He's making $22 million. He's only 28. I know he's had a bunch of foot issues, but a guy that size that can shoot it, with range, I think is still coveted. I think there's a contender that would give something up for him. I don't know what, but I think he's the one piece they can strip.
Do they get to 21 wins?
I think so, actually. I think a guy they brought in basically a garbage win specialist in Jeremy Lin. So I think they probably do 23, 24, something like that.
More wins. Sixers, Suns, Nets.
Oh, man. I like the Suns roster the best out of that, so I'll go with Phoenix, even though they're playing the West.
Into our last division. We'll start with the Charlotte Hornets. Over-under set at 42.5. Start 3-1. Bring in Hibbert and Ramon Sessions. Lose Jeremy Lin, Al Jefferson, and Courtney Lee. They do get Michael Kidd-Gilchrist back this year from injury. Your thoughts on the Hornets?
It seemed like last year, just because they had a decent year, basically shed the Michael Jordan is a bad GM label, and I'm not sure why, really. I don't really think this team can do anything with this roster. I like Kemba Walker. He's a nice piece. Pretty good. I don't love the big men, though. None of them can space the floor. Roy Hibbert is a shell of himself. I was never a Kid Gilchrist fan. And then at the two, they kind of have a mishmash of retreads in Batum and Jeremy Lamb. I have a hard time believing that this team does anything this year.
Yeah, I think the over-under at 42.5 is, I think this is a 41-41 team.
Yeah, I lean in the under.
Yeah. This is another team that I don't know who you build around. I guess Kemba Walker.
Is he that guy, though? I think he might be a better complimentary piece.
Yeah. No, I think you're right on with...
some bigs, I don't know. I keep going back to the same guys, but maybe if you pair Kemba with Anthony Davis or LaMarcus Aldridge or someone like that, maybe it can work, but I don't think he's the guy that you build around.
Yeah, I think they're in a tough spot. You were right on with
what Jordan does.
With Jordan.
Yeah.
Atlanta Hawks bring in Dwight Howard, lose Horford and Teague. Over-under at 43.5, 3-1 start. I like this landing spot for Dwight Howard.
So do I. I think he can have a nice little bounce back year here. He should feel much more comfortable. The pressure won't be on him. The spotlight's off of him. He's got some guys around him that can score. They have some shooters. Schroeder can score even though he's out of control. Millsap and Mike Scott can score. Bazemore can score. And Kyle Korver can shoot it. So while I don't think they're going to be a contender in the East, I think they can win 42 games.
Yeah, I like some of these pieces. I know he's a little older, but I think this is the first true point guard in good situation Dwight Howard's been in. Obviously, he had to play with Harden in Houston. The Lakers situation was a disaster.
Yeah.
I guess Jameer Nelson at that point was okay in Orlando. But I think this is a good situation for Dwight Howard to come into. And especially teaming up with Millsap. I kind of like the Hawks this year.
Yeah, I don't mind them. He probably won't help them this year, but I liked their draft pick of DeAndre Bembry as well.
Agreed.
Temple.
Agreed.
St. Joe's.
I like them over the 43.5.
I would lean that way, but I'm not totally sold. I think they're in that low 40s range.
To the Washington Bullets, 42.5 over under. Bring in Trey Burke and Ian Mahimi. Have started 0-3. Your thoughts on your Bullets?
They were one of my season-long selections. The under 42.5. They are not very good. I was down on them last year. They're going to have to make a decision, I think. I'm not sure what they're going to do, but they're paying Gortat too much money. Bradley Beal is the guy that has to take that next step. John Wall is one of the best point guards in the league. I know a lot of people don't like him, but from a passing and defense standpoint, there's not a ton better than him at that position. He's not a great shooter, but, point guards aren't supposed to stretch the floor like that. But they don't have anyone else that does anything. Otto Porter is a bust, in my opinion. He'll probably look okay this year just because he's going to get minutes. They didn't bring anybody that's going to help them. I'm not a Trey Burke guy. Marcus Thornton is, old, can't score anymore. I don't know where they go from here. So I'm under, and I think you might see some turnover on this roster at the end of the year.
Yeah, I'm with you. I liked this roster last year. I think I don't really have much to add from what you said. I think they lack a 3 and a 4, especially the 3 position.
They lack a 3, 4, and 5.
I think Gortat's salary aside, I think he's okay as your 5 if you had a 3 and a 4, especially a 4.
If Gortat was making $4 or $5 billion a year, I would agree.
Yeah. Who do you think gets moved?
I don't know. It's a good question. I think if Beal does not kind of explode, I wouldn't be shocked if they moved him and got a package of assets. John Wall would not be happy, but I think that's the move that they would have to make.
What kind of package could Bradley Beal bring back?
That's a good question. It's not as much as it would have been 2 years ago. He's still regarded as a really good shooter, and he's still really young. So, he's born in '93, so he's really young. I think GMs value age a lot now. Not really sure why, but I think he can still bring back a pretty solid package or a group of guys.
Yeah, I agree. Odds. Better or worse than 50% that Bradley Beal is on the Bullets next year?
I'll say they're better right now. But if he finishes the season averaging 14 points a game, 1 rebound and 2 assists like he's averaging right now, I know we're only 3 games in, then I'll say over.
To Florida for the Miami Heat. They lose Dwayne Wade, Luol Deng, and it appears Chris Bosh. Over-under set at 34.5. Have started 2-2. Very interesting situation in Miami to me.
We've talked about this before in the offseason. To me, this is a prime candidate for blow it up and start over. And I think Pat Riley wants to do it. So I wouldn't be shocked if you see them blow it up at the deadline and trade, try to get rid of Derek Williams, try to get rid of Goran Dragic and Dion Waiters, and just build around Winslow and Whiteside.
I agree. I think those two pieces are good pieces to start with. And obviously luring somebody to Miami shouldn't take a lot.
No.
I think they're in a good spot moving forward. I think this year may be a tough year, but I like the position they've put themselves in.
So do I. I think this is a prime landing spot for a disgruntled Klay Thompson.
Very interesting.
And I would really enjoy that. They would obviously have to find a point guard, but I would love that roster with Thompson, Winslow, and Whiteside.
Wow,
I think
interesting.
you might see a Blake Griffin sighting in Miami next year as well.
Wow, interesting.
I think that team could compete. You'd have to find a point guard, obviously. But if you can get a trade for Klay Thompson, I don't know how you'd work that. You probably would have to give up a Whiteside or Winslow, but I think you could keep one, and then go after Blake in free agency and have Griffin, Klay, and another piece.
Yeah, this is the most intriguing team to me moving forward. They could go a million different directions to build this back up.
Yes, I think they're in a good spot for the next 5 years.
Completely agree. I think I lean under the 34.5 this year. But as we just talked about, I love them moving forward.
Yeah, I would lean under as well, only because I believe Pat Riley is already looking towards February and the explosion that he is going to cause. He just doesn't seem like the guy that's going to wait a year to do it.
No, I agree. Last team for the preview, the Orlando Magic. They bring in Ibaka, Biyombo, Jeff Green, Luz Oladipo. Over-under set at 37.5. Have started 2-3. And I honestly have no clue what they're doing.
I don't either. I was in Orlando in June after they acquired Ibaka, and they had a huge billboard of them, and I'm not sure anybody driving by knew who it was. I liked the under here. I made it one of my plays. I'm just not sure how they are going to score. Evan Fournier he can score a little bit, but it's up to Ibaka, Vujovic, and Payton basically to score, and I'm not sure any of those guys are more than 13, 14 points a game guys.
Yeah, Vucevic, Ibaka, and Biyombo, who are all being paid decent money, and you can't play them on this floor at the same time. Aaron Gordon doesn't fit with those guys as an athletic piece. You could probably make the case that Fournier doesn't really fit either.
Right.
The Jeff Green experiment around the league is almost approaching Rudy Gay status. This team is just baffling to me what they're doing.
Yep.
I thought they were headed in the right direction when we talked last year in the preview. And it's just gone south fast.
Gone to complete shit. I'm not sure if they were counting on Payton and Gordon to pop, but I think we already know what each one of those guys is, and, they're okay. They're kind of bench players, and NBA.
So our plays that we put out for the year were the T-Wolves over 40.5 wins, Pacers over 44.5, Bullets under 42.5, Magic under 37.5, and the Sacramento Kings under 34. Comfortable with those.
I like those. I like those a lot.
We both had Cavs Golden State with the Warriors winning the title. If not Cavs, I had Pacers, you had Raptors. If not Golden State, we both had the Clips. Your MVP pick?
I'm going James Harden. I think he scores his way to an MVP.
Like the selection, I went Russell Westbrook. We both had the T-Wolves as our most improved teams. Disappointing team for me was the Grizz. You had the Knicks. And your Rookie of the Year pick?
I can't remember.
You have Brandon Ingram, and I took Embiid.
I didn't realize Embiid was counted as a rookie.
He was in the odds, so I assume that he is.
I would lean Embiid if I could redo that. I still think Brandon Ingram will put up some numbers, though, on that crappy LA team.
Anything else you'd like to add to the association preview?
I don't think so.
And just a teaser for the fans out there. A lot of football picks that we like this week. The officials will be out tonight or tomorrow morning. I know that we've gone back and forth today. But there's a lot we like, and we're hot right now.
We are hot right now, especially in college football.
Great job by you the past 2 days. Enjoy the weekend of action.
Tip of the hat to the host, as always.
Talk to you soon, bud.
All right, buddy.
See ya.